Hello, hello. Welcome to The Natural Life, from health to homemaking, balancing health and home with natural wisdom and a little bit of everything in between. I'm your host, Brenda Romanowski. Today we're diving into a topic that is sure to lift your spirits. I'm talking about the power of positive thinking. Now, if you're thinking, oh, great, another pep talk when I haven't even had my coffee yet, don't worry, I've got you. We'll take it one sip at a time. Did you see what I did there? Anyway, positive thinking isn't about slapping on a fake smile and pretending life is perfect. It's about finding the silver linings, focusing on what's good, keeping your heart grounded in hope, kind of like how faith teaches us to trust in God's plan, even when we can't see it. And let's be real, sometimes just not spilling your tea feels like a win, right? I say that because I'm drinking tea right now. I have this little thing going on in my throat. Here's the thing. Positive mindset doesn't just make us feel good. Research actually shows it can improve stress management, it can strengthen our health, can even make us more resilient when life gets tricky. So grab your favorite mug, get cozy, let's chat about how we can shift our perspective and transform our lives one thought at a time. Now, just a disclaimer, I am not a medical doctor. I am not your doctor. I am just someone that wants to educate you and entertain you. Let's get that right out of the way. So let's kick things off with a little story. Picture this. It's a Monday morning, trying to dive into my Bible study, my devotional time, what I like to call my quiet time in the morning after I get up. But before I can even dive in, my mind starts wandering. Suddenly, I'm making a mental to-do list. I'm eyeing that pile of laundry that's practically waving at me. I'm noticing my dog Bo giving me those, let's go to the park now, puppy eyes. It's like the universe decides I need a crash course in focus before I can even finish my first sip of tea. Like, thank you, God, right? Sound familiar? We all have those days where nothing seems to go right from the get-go. But what if I told you that a simple shift in mindset could turn that frazzled morning into a day of possibilities? Positive thinking doesn't mean pretending everything's perfect. It's about acknowledging the messy, the chaotic, the downright frustrating parts of life, and then choosing to focus on the good. Kind of like deciding to appreciate the donut instead of fixating on the hole. Or in my case, celebrating the fact that I didn't spill my tea all over the table, which, let's be honest, happens way more often than I'd like to admit. So why is this so important? Well, because our thoughts have a way of shaping everything, our mood, our behavior, even our health. Studies from places like the Mayo Clinic show that a positive mindset can lower stress, can improve your coping skills, can even extend your lifespan. Who doesn't want a longer life? It's kind of like having your own personal cheerleader in your head, only without all the pom-poms and the questionable dance moves. I promise. Now, let's get back to my distracted devotional time. Instead of letting my scattered thoughts get the best of me, I paused. I took some deep breaths, maybe another sip of lukewarm tea, and reminded myself of the blessings around me. I have a safe home. I have a sweet, slightly demanding yet adorable, loyal dog. I have an amazing husband. I have the ability to laugh at life's little hiccups. That tiny shift in perspective helped me start my day with gratitude instead of frustration. And here's the thing. Like, again, I said this twice already. So when Jesus said something 3 times, we're supposed to listen. So I think 3 is a really great number. So here's the 3rd time, and I'm not comparing myself to Jesus, but positive thinking isn't about ignoring the tough stuff. It's not about faking it. It's about choosing to see hope and possibility even when things feel hard. It's like wearing a pair of glasses that filter out all that negativity, but still keep you grounded in reality. So whether you are getting distracted during your quiet time or dealing with something much bigger, Remember that positive thinking is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And when you're having one of those days where it's tough to see the bright side, lean on your people. Soak up their encouragement, their laughter, their love. We weren't meant to do this life alone. And sometimes a good laugh with a friend is exactly what you need to reset. So let's talk now about renewing our minds. Now, this isn't just something that you hear in a Sunday sermon and you forget about, which we shouldn't be doing that anyway. It's a daily practice, and it can completely change how we experience life. Think of it like a mental makeover, like switching from those cozy pajamas to real clothes. Unless, let's be honest, some days that's a big deal. Renewing your mind is a reminder that your thoughts have power. They shape your perspective, your actions, even your future. So, what does renewing the mind really mean? Okay, I want you to picture your mind like a garden, okay? And over time, negativity, doubt, worry, frustration, they can creep in like pesky weeds. And they choke out all those flowers of hope and joy and positivity and love. And let's be real, those weeds grow fast. Before you know it, they've taken over. Renewing your mind, sorry, I have a hair on my mouth. Renewing your mind is about pulling out those weeds and intentionally planting seeds of truth and positivity. Because let's face it, no one wants their mental garden looking like an overgrown jungle. So how do you do it? Well, awareness, that's the first step. We need to get honest about what's growing in that garden. Sometimes we can let our thoughts drift in and out without really even paying attention, kind of like scrolling social media and realizing you've lost an hour of your life. I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, what am I thinking about right now? Are these thoughts lifting me up or dragging me down like a heavy backpack? Did I even realize that I was carrying this? Are these thoughts helpful? If they're not helpful, they need to go. So now the next step is we challenge and replace. Once you recognize those unhelpful thoughts, it's time to challenge them. So you ask yourself, is this thought even true? Is it kind? If the answer is no, swap it out for something better. Feeling like you're not enough? Replace that with I am capable and worthy, because you are. This is kind of like giving your heart a little fist bump of encouragement. And who doesn't want that? Next, meditation. And this doesn't have to be the new age spiritual meditation. Just take a few minutes each day to focus on positive messages that speak to you. You can do this in prayer form. You can do this by just reading something positive. Let it speak to you. Let your thoughts soak in. Guide your thoughts. Act as the fertilizer for your mental garden. The more you feed your mind with good things, the more peace and joy will bloom. And that's really true. I'm a joyful person, and I think it's because I tend to see the positive. Sometimes that can get me in trouble. My husband will tell you more times than not that can get me in trouble because I tend to be someone who just wants joy and peace all the time. But if you look for it, you'll find it, even in the worst of situations. Next, daily affirmations. I want you to either write or say affirmations that reinforce positivity. Think of them as little pep talks that you have with yourself. I am strong. I am loved. I am beautiful. I am enough. These really can become powerful tools for transforming your mindset. Again, it's like that personal cheerleader. No pom-poms, no awkward cheers. Just you, your powerful words, and a whole lot of self-love. Next, we want to practice gratitude because, as you've heard me say in other episodes, gratitude is the key to happiness in your life. It's like sunshine for your mind. Each day, jot down or reflect on 3 things you're thankful for. Hot cup of tea or coffee. Meaningful hug from a loved one. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to all the goodness that's already there. It's like flipping the switch from meh to wow, right? And then at the end of the day, we want reflection. Take a moment to think about what went well and maybe what could have gone better. Don't dwell on that though. This is like a little mental debriefing session, kind of like those after action reports, but with a less pressure and more chocolate. Now, renewing your mind is an ongoing process. This is not going to be a one and done deal. It's a consistent daily choice. You choose to align your thoughts with truth and love and hope, even when the world is throwing you curveballs. And like any good garden, it takes time for those flowers to bloom. But when they do, it is so worth it. So keep practicing. It's almost like when you're starting a new health plan. If you're anything like the majority of people that I know, especially women, we tend to get on the scale after 2 days of starting our health plan and we think we should see these massive loss in weight, right? These massive pounds coming off. Doesn't always happen like that, but consistent effort over time is what will get you to your goal. So let's commit to this together. It's a practice that can really bring you peace and joy and a deeper connection to who we were created to be. Remember, no garden blooms overnight, but the results are always worth the effort. All right, friends, let's get down to it. Now, we've talked about the why behind positive thinking. Now it's time to look at the how. And positive thinking doesn't just stop at what you believe. It's about the little things you do every day, like we were just talking about. So I want you to think of these habits I'm going to talk to you next about as tools you can reach for to stay positive, no matter what life throws at you. Set a morning intention. Before you jump into your busy day, take a quiet moment to set an intention. Could be super simple, like I'm going to approach today with calm and patience, or I'll find one thing to smile about today. This tiny act centers your mind and it gives you a focus point for your day. Now, I want to caution you. Sometimes people will say, you never pray for patience. And that's true. You don't. What I found is when you pray for patience, God will send things during your day to test you to see if you're being patient. So you really want to be careful when you say, I'm going to approach today with calm and patience. Maybe just calm, maybe just joy. Start out small, and then you can add patience in later. Just saying. Just a little note there. Next, celebrate small wins. Positivity grows when we recognize progress, no matter how small. Did you cross off that one thing that you've been procrastinating about? Celebrate it. Did you make it through a tough conversation? That's a win. Tracking and celebrating those little victories shifts your focus towards what's going right. Stay in the right zone. Okay? Now, the next thing you can do is use a positivity trigger. Choose a word, an object, a sound to remind you to pause and refocus on something positive. You can do this all day long. For example, every time you hear your phone notification or see your favorite mug or take a deep breath, think of one good thing that is happening in your life. Could be small, could be huge, just one good thing. I slept great last night. I have a soft pillow. I have a warm home. My dog loves me. Okay? Next, find positive accountability. What does that mean? Well, surround yourself with people who will encourage your positive thinking. Could be a friend, could be a family member, could be a social media group that's focused on growth and encouragement. But share your goals and your struggles with them. Let their encouragement lift you up on the days where you're struggling. Something else cool that I saw online, you could create a joy jar. You just grab an empty jar. Each day, you write down one good thing that happened, big or small, write it on a piece of paper, drop it in the jar. On tough days, pull out a few. Remind yourself of all the blessings that you've had. Okay? Sometimes when we're really down, something big has happened, it's hard to find the blessings. They're there. They're still there. You're just not reminded of them. Next, and this one reminds me of a very good friend of mine named Avis. Avis, if you're listening, this one's for you. Serve someone else. A great way to build positivity is to share it. Look for ways to serve others. Maybe a kind word. Maybe you can go help them with something. Maybe just being there for someone who needs it. Not only does it brighten their day, but it boosts your mood too. Now, these habits are all simple, but they're really powerful, and you'll create a foundation of hope and joy and resilience that carries you even through the hardest days. So, got it. Let's fix this and talk about how positive thinking can change your everyday actions. Okay? Positive thinking directly impacts the way you move through your day. It's not about slapping on a smile. It's about using positivity as a tool to handle life's ups and downs. Now, here's how it shows up in action. Turning frustrations into lessons. What do I mean? Well, negative thought patterns can trap us in a cycle of frustration, right? We have one negative thing happen, and then it leads to another, and then it leads to another. Did you ever hear those people say, oh, it must be a pattern of three, these three things happened? But when you shift your perspective, like from why is this happening to me to what can I learn from this? It tweaks those little moments and rewires how you approach challenges. And rewiring up here is what we really need. Next, you want to stop the spiral. You ever notice how one bad thought can snowball into an entire mood? That's the negativity spiral. Positive thinking helps you hit pause. Pause. When a thought like, I'm failing at everything, creeps in, stop it with a reality check. Actually, I'm learning, and that's progress. Right? We learn from everything we go through. Don't say you don't, because you have. Your mindset influences your energy, which rubs off on others. You ever notice that person maybe at work or at home? When they're in a bad mood, everyone around them gets quiet and kind of doesn't want to be near them or doesn't want to talk to upset them or starts to become in a bad mood with them. Well, when you focus on the positive, you're more likely to approach conversations with kindness and patience and encouragement and joy. And that's one of the things that this world definitely needs, joy. I also want you to try to break free of all or nothing thinking. Negative patterns often make us think in extremes. This will never work, or I'm not good enough. Positive thinking gives you the freedom to reframe those thoughts into something more balanced. Maybe it's not perfect, but it's a step forward. Maybe I screwed up, but I learned from it. Right? Next, you want to take ownership of your mindset because negative thoughts can feel automatic. We all have those negative tapes that play in our heads on a daily basis. I have them. But here's the truth. You don't have to believe everything you think. It's not all true. You have the power to change your perspective. A thought like, I can't handle this, can become, this is hard, but I'm capable. I can do hard things. I've done several hard things in the past. I can do one more. That shift is everything. As a matter of fact, I'm going to just share a little personal story about a hard thing I had to go through. Some of you know, and maybe some of you don't, that I have 4 children, and one of them, my oldest son, passed away in 2018, and that's a story for another time. However, when he passed away, he was 27, almost 28. He was like 1 month shy, a little less than 1 month shy of turning 28. He had gone through several things that were very difficult, and I remember, I've always been a very faith-filled person. And when that happened, when he passed away, that rocked me to my core. And for the first probably 2 months, really, I couldn't go back to church because I felt like I had been failed by God. I was mad at God. And I remember after 1 month trying to go back to church, and I couldn't last. I had to tell my other 3 kids, come on, let's go. We're leaving. I couldn't stay in church. I was that upset and that angry at God. However, after a lot of prayer, a lot of healing, a lot of reading my Bible, forcing myself because I knew that's what I needed personally for me, realizing that this was being used for something. I know that sounds crazy, but when we had Jeremy's memorial, there were at least 300 people there, if not more. And just about everyone told us how Jeremy had positively affected their lives. Whether that was making them laugh, encouraging them, lifting them up, listening to them. So that convinced me that Jeremy's life was used for a very, very good purpose. And I had to focus on that through those hard times. And it got me through. It got me through. You will know that that is one of the very hardest, if not the hardest thing you will ever have to go through. But I did it. I mean, I still miss him every single day. That's not the case. However, I choose to think of the positive times instead of the times that are going to make me feel so sad. So that's a hard thing. How does positive thinking show up in daily life? Let's take a step back and look at what positive thinking actually does in our everyday lives. It's not just about having happy thoughts. It's about how those thoughts shape the way we show up for ourselves and others. Here's how positivity makes a difference in the real world. You become a source of light. When you focus on the good, it changes how you interact with others. You listen more, you react less, you spread calm, you spread kindness, and other people can feel that. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Imagine the friend or coworker who always lifts the mood in a room. That's the power of positivity in action. People want to be around that person. Choose to be that person. You also handle stress better. Life happens. It's not always smooth sailing, but when you're grounded in positive thinking, you respond to challenges with more grace. And instead of feeling overwhelmed and having an anxiety attack, you can take a deep breath and say, I've got this. Stress doesn't magically disappear, but you become better equipped to face it without ruining your day. You start to see opportunities everywhere. Positive thinking shifts your focus from limitations to possibilities. Instead of seeing a setback as the end of the road, you start asking, what can I learn from this? Is there a different path I can take? And that mindset keeps you moving forward, even when things don't go as planned, even when things change, right? And your energy shifts. Because let's face it, being negative is exhausting. It drains us. But when you focus on what's good, it fuels you. You're more likely to take care of yourself, whether that's eating better or exercising, moving your body, carving out time for rest. Positive thinking doesn't just change your outlook, it changes your energy to actually live it out. And then you inspire others. You have that ripple effect. That's a real thing. When you approach life with hope and optimism, it starts to encourage others to do the same. Now, you will always have that one person who is annoyed by your positivity. Let them, like Mel Robbins says, let them. It's not your job to fix other people. It's your job to be the best you. So a kind word, a smile, or even the way you carry yourself can remind someone else to look for the good. Your positivity becomes a gift, not just for yourself, but for many of the people around you. And at its core, positive thinking changes the way you experience your day and how other people experience you. It's really about showing up with purpose, choosing to see the good, and letting that shine through everything that you do. And especially if you're a believer, this is what we're called to do, right? Show God's love to everybody. As you move through your week, pay attention to where positivity is making an impact, no matter how small. Now, it's time to turn this into action. As you go about your week, I want to challenge you, personally want to challenge you, to make positive thinking a part of your daily routine. So here's few little things you can do to get started. Have a daily reflection. Set aside just 5 minutes each day to reflect on your thoughts. Jot down any negative thoughts and find a positive affirmation to counter them. If you're a Christian, find a positive verse in the Bible to counter them. You could take a positive challenge. For the next 7 days, start each morning by identifying one positive thing about the day ahead. You can share these on social media. You can share them on my Facebook page or here in the comments. Let's create this wave of encouragement for everybody. You can find a gratitude buddy, someone you can practice sharing 3 things with that you're grateful for each day. This will strengthen those gratitude muscles, and it also deepens relationships. Affirmation. There's something called affirmation art. I didn't know this was a thing till I started doing some research. You can create a piece of art or a simple note with your favorite affirmation. Place it on your bathroom mirror or your car mirror, somewhere you're going to see it every day. And this will serve as a daily reminder about the positive thinking you're trying to cultivate. I'd love to hear about your journey. You can always drop me a message here or again on Facebook. Share your experiences, your challenges, your victories. Your story might just help somebody else on their path towards positive thinking, right? As we wrap up today's episode, let's just take a moment to breathe in the possibilities that positive thinking offers. Remember, this really is a journey, not a destination. It's about choosing to see the good even in the middle of chaos. I want you to really reflect on how you're thinking. Here's to a week with positive thoughts. Until next time, keep living the natural life. May your days be blessed with love and laughter and positive thinking. And I hope you make it a great day. Bye-bye.